I'm excited to welcome Andrew Hathaway, founder of Virtual Assist. He's a leader who champions time, energy, and financial freedom. He's built businesses that empower founders through virtual support, tech innovation, all while insisting on a life-first mindset behind entrepreneurship. Andrew, welcome to Uncommon Wealth.
Glad to be here. I'm talking to the real big hitter right now. He's the one that taught me everything I know about the financial planning game, ladies and gentlemen. So it's an honor to be on the show.
Thanks for saying that, dude. Appreciate it. I'll send you the $20 gift card in a little bit. Do us a favor. For the viewers and the listeners who have not found you on your own podcast, can you share a little bit of your backstory, how did your business come to life, and what those early moments look like for you?
Yeah, so back so I started in 2016 is when I started my first business. Unless you want to count the CD, how in high school you could, that was my first business. I used to rip off CDs in high school, and I found this website. I'm sorry, this is just too fun. I found this website that you could actually print out the labels. And so I would find the music on Napster or whatever. This is dating myself, and then I would go into school. I'm trying to think, what was my best selling one? It was like a Jadakiss album, I remember.
Oh yeah.
And so I would sell them for $5 a pop. So technically that was my first business. So the first business that the IRS knows about is the one I started in 2016, my college financial planning business, which I then sold this last year for $1 because it was a $2 million business that made me feel trapped, like I was in a prison. And so a lot of my business enterprises now are in response to that season, which was a really difficult season for me. It was a very profitable prison. And so on the other side of that, I had an experience where I create freedom for business owners. That's all I heard. I had an epiphany after my mental breakdown, had to go to a mental health institution. And so the two businesses that I own now, I have Virtual Assist and Freedom AI. So that's a 1-2 punch. So I see AI as a tool just to create freedom. That's it. And so AI is like the Formula One car. The VA is the driver. So I work with a lot of blue collar guys, builders, construction guys, and love them. They're not very tech savvy. And so we will set up the AI tools and then put a VA in the business to drive it. So that's what we do.
And are the businesses up and running to scale for you?
So I would say with our AI business, we're still kind of proving the niche. And so we are doing a lot of market research. I've been having a lot of people on my podcast, The Builder's Bible, and I'm using that as a way to kind of test our offering. Overwhelmingly been pretty positive. And I wonder, because when you talk about construction, there's a lot of different parts of construction. I know a lot of commercial guys. One thing that's been really interesting to me is that I've talked to probably 50 different home builders, not on my podcast, but just generally speaking. And I have not talked to a single home builder that has a scalable, repeatable way to get new clients in the door, which I find interesting. So I wonder if when we do wind up really scaling our offering, if it's going to be to home builders. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. What are you doing to focus on the scalability of your business that will allow you to stay out of the day-to-day, but still grow and protect what you're building?
So I lean heavily on a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Love that book. And actually, the story around that is I picked up a copy of it on the way to the mental health institution.
No kidding.
Yeah. So that book caught me at a really unique time in my life. I don't even know if the guy's a Christian, but that book might as well sit next to my Bible. That book has changed my life. And so one of the things that he talks about is not only the value of your time, uncommon wealth. I think the new form of currency is time, right? You could be super rich and have the nice cars, but if you don't have time to spend it with your family and your loved ones, then you're not really truly wealthy. So he talks about time and your energy. And I thought that was really good. He talks about how what you spend your time on has to be something that lights you up. And so I look at my daily tasks And anything that doesn't make me a lot of money and give me energy, I just don't do it. And I delegate it either to a VA or to AI.
That's an and not an or.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah, because ultimately, I think that that profits follow passion. Not like wandering passion, but like I'm really passionate about helping business owners find freedom, and something about my story just resonates with people. I think every business owner, to some extent, you and I have even talked about this, like has a low point, right? And when I share about my mental health breakdown, people will just be like, "Oh yeah, man, I was on the brink of divorce, or I was addicted to cocaine." And it just like, we just immediately, the walls just kind of go down, and we can talk about whatever. Like at the end of the day, like I'm trying to get them to be free. And so, the most scalable thing though, I think that we're doing is the VA plus AI. We haven't quite figured out exactly who our niche is, but I think we're getting pretty close.
Because you've had such a transformational last few years, what's one belief about wealth or success that's completely changed for you?
So I'm a part of this Christian business owner network called Rise Up Kings. And I'm so thankful for it. It's awesome. They're actually in Houston. No, I'm sorry, not in Houston. They're in Dallas area. They're Argyle. And I know from Rise Up Kings so many freaking ballers, like Christian guys that are just doing millions of dollars of business. And a lot of them have gotten kind of to the end of the success, race, so to speak. And they did it at the expense of their families or their marriages. And that was oftentimes what brought them to Rise Up Kings. Yeah, I talked to a guy just the other day who was on my podcast. He had a $20 million paving business, and he would be fine sharing this, but it cost him his marriage. And now I could just tell when we were talking, like, man, what he wouldn't give to have that back. And so at the end of the day, like the true wealth is your relationships. And I know that for me, the most important thing I can do is be faithful to my marriage and to my kids. And I've just noticed this weird thing where it's like, if I pursue my wife and make her feel seen and heard, God just like tends to bless the businesses. Like I'll have a day where I like didn't even make my dials, or I didn't even make my outreach, and the business just comes in because I just am being faithful in the little things. And so, yeah, that's what I would say is it sounds pretty cliche, but, the things that matter most are those relationships, and whatever God has for me in terms of success, great. But, at the end of the day, like it's not going to come at the expense of, my kids growing up bitter and frustrated with me.
To that end, what's one thing that you're putting in place to protect that, which is, your relationships and those things that you value most dearly? What are you putting in place to protect that, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life?
So I think the rhythms with our family is really important. So we're trying to just have better rhythms, like going on walks in the evenings, really being true to like have a true like day off on the weekends, a Sabbath, if you will. I have a lockbox. It's really silly, but if my phone is accessible after work, I get distracted. So I put it in a lockbox for an hour after I get home. A badass executive assistant, at the end of the day is like when you're on vacation, and the plug, because you and I are talking about it, but I wish every one of my clients had a Heather. I mean, you could have every single AI tool under the sun. There's nothing like having a human being blocking and tackling for you. And so when we go on vacation, to know that she's putting out fires or whatever. And I had one more thought. The lockbox has been really good too. Yeah.
While you're thinking about that, I had a guest on one of my other podcasts, and he said his father told him early on, you have to let $10 an hour people do $10 an hour work. And he didn't mean it disrespectfully, but it kind of ingrained in his mind, as a business owner, you can't be doing everything all the time for everybody. You have to hire the right people, put them in the right seats. His book was Good to Great, by Jim Collins, but you got to put the right people in the bus, in the right seats on the bus, and let them do their work. There's more than one way to do a certain task. It doesn't have to be my way or your way. And, that can help give you some freedom, right? That allows your people to do what they do. And you call them, you want everybody to have a Heather. That's your executive assistant's name, right?
Yeah.
But if we could all have a Heather, that would make life a lot easier as a business owner.
Well, I mean, it's a real life cheat code. And again, like, not to plug my own thing, but
no, go ahead.
It's so freeing. I mean, I think stepping stone number one, because I'm actively then thinking, how can I make one Heather into 3 or 4? And so we're looking at tools that will leverage her capacity, because once you find a good one, I'm like, okay, she's not going anywhere. I'm going to put golden handcuffs on her. But then we're having her leverage her capacity with tools like Sintra or, Canva AI, or just like the different AI tools that are out there. How can I turn one into 4? So we're trying to automate all of my LinkedIn posting. We're trying to leverage her and her capacity for sure. You said something that made me, I had a thought and I forget what it was. I mean, I love the concept of the show, Uncommon Wealth. It's such a great topic because I was thinking of that. Okay. So Dan Martell, one of the things he talks about is doing what's called a time and energy audit, which I think is really, really cool. And he says that no matter if you're a $1 billion company or $1 million company, he's going to have you do the same damn thing. He's going to go and for 2 weeks, you're going to track every 15 minutes of your time, which is really tedious. And you basically will highlight it green if it gives you energy or red if it takes away. And then you also write between $1 and $4 signs next to it. So for instance, answered emails for 30 minutes. Okay. That's a low value task. It took energy from me. Had a sales meeting with a potential client. All right. High value, high energy. And so basically he says anything that's low value, low energy, you give to Heather or you give to an AI tool. And you effectively, what you start to do is you spiral up into your production quadrant where you're only doing things that make you money and give you energy. And in a weird way, I literally experienced the opposite of that when I had my breakdown. I was doing all admin. I was doing all repetitive menial tasks. I had basically hired people to do sales, marketing, all the things I actually like doing. And so if you looked at my personality profile and all the tests I was taking, I was testing as a completely different person.
Yeah.
I literally was a different person. So at the end of the day, now I have energy and I'm like a better father, better husband, better, friend, because all I'm doing is that high value stuff where I'm spiraling up. And so, stepping stone number one is an absolute rock star EA. And then from there, we systematize with AI, all the other stuff.
To transition a little bit, some owners view their company or their business as their retirement plan. And then others, as you well know, in the businesses that you're in, try to build wealth separately apart from their businesses and their companies. How do you think about that for yourself?
Well, I'm a financial advisor by trade. So the financial advisor in me says you should be saving towards liquid accounts like, Roths, if you qualify for them, and permanent life insurance policies. However, part of me, I want to be ready for that worst case. I just don't see a world where I'm not going to be working or building something. So even the thought of real estate kind of bores me a little bit. It's just like, that just seems so boring to me, but I cannot imagine a day where I'm not starting something new or building something.
Well, let me ask it to you a different way.
Yeah.
If someone were to step in right now and offer you an 8-figure buyout, tomorrow, they're going to step in tomorrow and offer you an 8-figure buyout. What would you already need to have in place to feel comfortable to walk away financially?
I wouldn't need anything to feel comfortable. I feel very comfortable taking an 8-figure buyout because I would just take that and go build something else. So,
yeah, what would you build?
I would probably do some different version of the AI thing, or I'm excited. I'm building a financial coaching business for Christian business owners, actually thinking a lot about my Rise Up Kings friends. And eventually what I want to do is start planting churches.
What kind of coaching do you think the business owners need outside of the Rise Up Kings?
Well, there's not a lot of coaching around finances. And a lot of these guys that I, am thinking about, again, blue collar guys, half of these guys are building something, commercial, residential. I've talked to a lot of them. They don't even have a term policy. Like a term policy. a term policy. Like, if you fall off the roof, sir, your family is screwed. Like, okay, that's thing one. And then liquidity, and then, an estate plan, like all of those things. So like just coaching around that. And then some of the stuff that you and I do, which is then like the permanent policies, the split dollar stuff, the buy sell agreements, you name it. Some of these guys, premium finance cases, which is what you do, so all of that is interesting to me, but it dawned on me, I have my Series 65, but I hate managing money. I don't like, I don't like picking the stocks. At the end of the day, I just want to coach people. So that would be one of the things I'd focus more on for sure.
So uncommon wealth. And I think, when most people think about wealth, they think about money, but you've brought time and flexibility into that wealth conversation. I think we need to think about time and flexibility, not just dollars, right? So how do you think about creating more of that, more liquidity, more flexibility? And the answer can't just be another VA. So you can choose the next chapter without being locked into your business.
I mean, I think a big part of it is systems. So like good systems and SOPs. I am the worst at following systems. I'm very much fly by the seat of your pants. But that would be my first thought, is having everything systematized inside your business would be a big one. My mentors, the Benham brothers, that's literally what they did to be able to achieve freedom. So they have like 20 different businesses, but they're all like systematized to the max. And
how did they do that? How did they build those systems?
They created a framework that they call it silo, stacks, segments. It's like 4 different things. So like you think about the different areas of your business, like marketing is its own silo. And then like, maybe it's like operations is its own silo. And then within that, you have different segments of that. And then inside of the segments is where you get real, granular with like the step-by-step process. And this was all before something like Loom or Trainual or all the different things that can capture SOPs these days. I think they just tracked it on like Excel and like, Microsoft documents. But that's where Allie, my partner, comes in. She's the operations boss. So like I think once we really hone in on that niche, then that's when I would like to really systematize the crap out of the business. But to answer your question, I think finding a really good operator will probably be very helpful. And I don't know the answer. I'll tell you when I get there.
I appreciate that. How are you thinking about the next 10 to 20 years, not just in the business, but personally and financially?
I think I just would be really happy covering, at least in the immediate term, like what was coming in from my college funding business. I'd be really happy about that, which would meet our kind of monthly obligations. And then the next 10 to 20 years, I'd like to be able to like put some of the businesses on autopilot to do some ministry again. I really miss, doing full-time ministry.
Which is where having an operator and those SOPs and then a good VA, all of that comes back into play, right?
Yeah, you got it.
If your kids were listening to this podcast 25 years from now, what's one lesson you'd want them to take away from your approach to wealth and building a legacy?
Yeah, I think just impressing upon them the importance of stewardship and just seeing yourself as a steward of what has been given to you. I don't necessarily know that they're all going to be business owners. But, in a perfect world, I'd love for them to come into the family business so I can get more time with them. But I think just kind of seeing yourself as a steward, I would lean heavily on like my season where I was not doing well and really unhealthy. I could tell you exactly what not to do, which is, set up a business where you're basically doing all the things you hate and then just really focus on profit, and that's at the end of the day, that was all I really, it was just all I cared about was at the end of the day was the money. It wasn't about, like moving the needle or
joy.
And I think, it wasn't about joy. Yeah.
What's a blind spot you think most successful business owners overlook when it comes to protecting their wealth or their legacy?
I don't know, their marriages. I think that would be a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of your most valuable assets. And if you talk about cause you and I have seen it, and as financial advisors, like the damage that does financially,
Mm-hmm.
even if you have a prenup, goodness gracious, like the tolls that just the legal fees can take. Yeah, I literally met with a guy, recently who he was on his like third or fourth, and everything had been divided so many times.
I talked to a guy, and I don't know where I got this from, and I don't agree with it, but he said you can be halved, you can't be quartered. So the fact that guy's going on his third or fourth, oof, that's a lot, man. And
That's
at some
tough.
point, you have to point the finger back at yourself or look in the mirror, right? I mean, if you're on your third or fourth, you have to look at, is that a them or is it a me issue?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's something you know now about business or wealth that you wish you'd have understood 10 years ago?
I think a lot about energy. Your energy is a finite resource. And so the older I get, I don't, it's not a renewable ongoing source. Like I feel like my capacity to do different things is decreasing. Like what you spend your time and energy on is really, really important. But I would say also for anybody that is remotely enterprising, the earlier you can start, the better. It's a lot less scary when you don't have a mortgage payment or, kids. I feel like people ask me that a lot. It's like, when's the best time to start? I'm like, as soon as you think you have an idea or like have something like you want to start marketing, like the earlier you can start, the better, because you're going to mess it up. You're going to make mistakes, but the sooner you get started is the sooner you can kind of fine tune that. So
that's good advice. All right, I got a lightning round session for you. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I need you to answer as quickly as you can, one-word answers or as short of answers as possible.
You got it.
You ready?
Yeah.
One myth about entrepreneurship you'd love to bust.
This isn't very fast, but I'm trying to think. I mean, because a lot of with social media, like we see people at their most successful point. You don't see the behind the scenes. So it takes time. And I feel like a lot of people,
yeah.
You don't see the journey. Yeah. You don't see the journey. So, that it's fat. Like, and I'm in coaching communities too. It's like, oh, well, I'm already doing 50 grand a month. And some of my third month in, I'm like, oh my gosh, so just, it takes time, and it's okay to, to fail forward. So.
Okay. Best investment you've made, money or otherwise?
I would just say marriage. Who you marry is really important. Yeah.
What about Rise Up Kings?
That's a one. Yeah, that's a good one. That has been, has changed my life for sure. Yeah.
And then also the VA.
Right? A badass virtual assistant. Yeah. It's stepping stone one to finding freedom is an absolute rock star.
All right. What's a daily habit that keeps you grounded or focused?
Time with the Lord. My time of walking prayer. I leave the house and at least 15, 20 minutes I'm walking, because if I don't, then I'm too ADD. So I walk and I pray, and that's my, if I don't get that, I'm like quicker to anger, like all the things. So yesterday I got home late. The previous night I was returning this RV and I didn't have my time, and I just had a really tough day with anger yesterday. So yeah, that's for sure one. Okay.
Two more. What's the best piece of advice you've ever ignored and been glad you did?
I think, have a business plan. I don't know. I've never met a plan I stuck to. So people, a lot of times when you get counsel around starting a business, it's like, oh, we have it all planned out and blah, 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 and projections. And I'm like, dude, I've never, ever met a plan that I stuck to. So
I kind of feel the same way. It's always hard to say, what's your 3-month, 5-month goals and projections? As much as I possibly can. I don't understand. All right. What's your guilty pleasure or splurge?
I've been buying records lately.
Like legit ones, not like the ones you did in high school?
Vinyl records. Yeah. So for Father's Day, Anna got me a record player, and the problem is I'm trying to do this without Amazon, which is really tough. So anytime I was in Cincinnati, visiting with her family over 4th of July, I went to a couple record stores. Dude, this is hilarious. So I'm trying to collect all my favorite records, which all happen to be like punk albums from the early 2000s, like Newfound Glory and all these bands, Blink-182, a couple on there. And so one of them randomly is this, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I love that album. She, stopped making music too soon. So I was in this record store. I picked up, and they're like 30 or 40 bucks each. I picked up, I was like, no way. And I literally like gasped, and the people around me were like, what? And I was like, I can't believe I found this. And then the next day, like we got back, I was in Target shopping for groceries, and guess what record they had in stock at Target? Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I was like, what, what's the point? So,
it feels different when you buy it in a record store, right? It's more real. You got the real one.
Yeah.
Not the mass produced version.
That's been fun. I have to stay out of record stores. I've reached my limit for the month for sure. So
that's awesome, man. Andrew, I really appreciate you joining, dude. I really do. Your candidness, particularly around, what you've been through and how it caused you to shift your mindset towards what wealth is. I think you're really onto wealth is not just money, but it's time and flexibility. I mean, conversations like this are the reason uncommon wealth exists. So thanks for sharing your clarity and your vision. And at some point in the future, let's have you on so we can get an update on where Virtual Assist is and the wealth that it's created.
I like that. It's kind of like the Shark Tank thing. It's like beyond the tank. You see how they're doing.
We'll do
I like
beyond the uncommon wealth. Yeah, let's do that.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.